Level design is one of the most important and challenging aspects of game development. In large projects, there are dedicated specialists who focused solely on creating levels. However, as an indie developer, I handle this on my own. In this video, I will share how I designed the levels for my minimalist 2D platformer, Leo the Square. It seems simple, but creating an engaging experience requires many decisions that are invincible to the average player. As I delved into level design, I realized that there is not much specific information about platformer design. The video 2D platformer level design with Bob Ross from the Let's Talk Game Design channel was incredibly helpful because it directly addressed my questions. I even took notes on it. From this video I learned that before starting level development, it's essential to decide on the tools to be used, such as mechanics and obstacles. More serious lectures, like 10 principles for good level design on the GDC channel, help me understand the core concepts. You can find all these links in the description. But what did I learn from these videos? First, it's important to know what your level will be about before you start creating it. However, in practice, this doesn't always work out. The level may start with one concept, but while testing it, you might change it to something more interesting. Still, having an initial idea gives the necessary motivation to start designing. Second, a good level is one where it's enjoyable to move around. No words are needed. Visual cues should suffice. The player should understand what needs to be done and find the right solution. Third, the level should evoke emotions and occasionally surprise the player. These emotions can vary: confusion, loneliness, excitement, exploration. Surprises should unfold gradually, with the overall structure of the level resembling a roller coaster, where each pause is followed by a bigger thrill. This structure can apply to the entire game as well. Finally, I realized that I had watched many videos on level design, but hadn't opened the editor yet. It was time to take action. Creating an interesting level is much harder than it seems. When I started thinking about levels for my game, I hit a mental block. There was so much information to keep in mind, and everything needed to be done correctly and interestingly. Gradually, this passed, and I began sketching the first levels on my tablet. Even though they were very simple, it was not any easier than programming mechanics. It requires a lot of thinking and concentration. Before starting the design in the editor, I measured the metrics. This is done to understand the maximum distance the player can jump and so on. When I started making the first levels, I immediately regretted not starting earlier. Before this, I simply created mechanics on a test level, and once they were ready, saved them as prefabs, so that I could use the same object in different levels. In the end, most of the mechanics didn't work well and needed fixing. However, after the fixes, I already have a set of tools for creating levels. I made the first levels by sketching them on the tablet, then transferring them to the editor, testing each moment, and then adjusting the block placement a bit. After that, I added lightning and particle effects. Then I moved on to the next level and repeat the same process. The problem is that when the mechanics interaction become more complex, the sketches become meaningless. In practice, they simply didn't match reality. In the end, it became easier for me to place blocks directly in the editor. This approach is simpler because you can immediately play and check if your idea works. Through this kind of improvisation, I created the most interesting moments. This is how I came up with the idea of lamps that light the way and found their proper use. While making one level or thinking about its idea, new obstacles or puzzles came to mind that can be used later. This happens because the brain is constantly searching for new solutions. Additionally, you better understand which situations are more interesting to play and which don't work in your game. So, the outcome. Currently, I have made the first 10 levels of the game. Now, I'm inviting friends to test levels and draw some conclusions. I will talk more about it in a separate video. I plan to create about 30 or 40 levels in total. The main thing for me is that they are already fun to play and the feedback is generally positive. I was most afraid that the levels would be either too simple or too difficult. But it seems like my friends are playing them just as I expected. Personally, I enjoy replaying these levels. I do this all the time before starting a new level. Perhaps it helps me put myself in the player's shoes and understand what level should come next. Now I have actual levels that you can complete from start to finish. It's just very satisfying to realize this and enjoy the little details. Some moments I'm even proud of, which positively affects my state of mind and motivates me to keep developing the game. To further motivate me to develop the game, you can add Leo the Square to your Steam wishlist. And let me know what is most important for you in level design.